Is it possible to use this autofill not only with constant but with formulas? Yes, it is. But things are getting a little bit more complex. Let's have a look at an example. We have a table with the turnover generated by certain employees, employee A, B, C. We have added it up to the total, and we have it for January, February and March. And now we would like to compute, we would like to calculate what is the turnover in percent. So how much turnover has each of the employees generated per month. The formula is quite easy. So it's basically what employee A has done divided by the total. Yeah, and you can see I've already changed the numbering format to percent. He has generated, or she has generated 34%. But now, if I move it to the right, you can see some strange thing happening. So you get these numbers which are obviously wrong. So what has happened? What you can see here is the formula is quite okay. What you would expect or what you would like to have here is basically C3 divided by E3. But by moving it to the right, each cell, each reference has been changed. As I have moved it to the right, all the columns have been adapted. So B3 becomes C3, which is what you would like to have. But E3 becomes F3, and that's what we don't want to have. So somehow we have to make sure that the one letter, the one column is changed, the other is not. How can we do this? We go back to our initial formula and we add a dollar in front of the E. This means if you now autofill in the one or the other direction, the dollar will keep the E as an E and it won't be changed. So I return it. You see the formula, the result is still the same. It's now B3 divided by $E3. And if I now move it to the right, look what happens. It's just what we would like to have. If I move down, everything is fine because we want to have B fee divided by $E4, B4 divided by $E4 and so on. So we don't have to use a dollar in front of the E, in front of the number, in front of the row. Let's start again because I will show a way to make the entering the formula a little bit easier. Again, I write B3 divided by E3, and now there is the option to toggle with a shortcut. Toggling means we go through several situations, always starting from the very beginning if you have reached the end. In Windows Excel, the shortcut is F4, function 4, and in the Mac, the shortcut is Command T. So now I'm toggling, so I click once, and you see E3 becomes $E3. That's not what we want because we want the row to be changed if we autofill down. I once again click on T. I want to use a shortcut. Now you see it's E$3. That's not what we want. Once again I toggle. Now it's $E3, and if I toggle again, we have our initial situation E3. Yeah, so what we expect is $E3. Yeah, and now I simply return and I can fill out things quite easily. Things can become more complex. So if you see our multiplication table, I have now constants to multiply in the horizontal and in the vertical. So how to handle this situation? What I would like to have as a formula is basically this times that. which is quite okay, so no problem. But if I move it down, you see the results are really going up. Yeah, the problem is here that the numbers are growing quite exponentially. You see here I have simply that number times that number. It's not what we really would like to have. Again, I have to use these dollars. And I start from scratch. I say I would like to multiply these B10. And again, I use the shortcuts to toggle. I would like to keep the column, but I would like to, I would like to keep the row, but I would like to change the column, which means I have to toggle to B$10 times, using the keyboard, the other cell. I toggle again, and here just the other way around. I would like to keep the column, but I would like to change the row. So carefully have a look on this formula, and if I now autofill first down, you can see it looks quite fine. And if I move it on autofill to the right, you can see we have our multiplication table. Now I will even make things more complex. I will add a number, let's say these 1000, to each of these cells. So I do a multiplication table plus x. I have again to change my formula. This one I can keep, but I would like to add the plus this in here. And again I have to toggle, and for each row and for each cell I would like to still have this M11 cell. So again I use my shortcut and set a dollar in front of the M, in front of the 11. Keep it like that. And now you can see if I move it down and I move it to the right, basically I have added 1000 to all these multiplications, to all the products I have done in before. It's something which is very important, but which makes Excel very efficient, these autofill of formulas. But you have to be careful, and you have to really understand how these absolute references, meaning I set a dollar, or the relative references, I have no dollar, how these work and when to use which of those. This requires practice. And for the practical course, it means even if you have all the correct results, but you have manually added each formula, then you have spent much too much time and you don't gain the points, because I expect you to work properly with absolute and relative references, meaning you have to set the dollars properly.